The stars in the Tharos expanse were cold and quiet. Far from any known colony or trade route, it was a place where even light seemed afraid to linger. In this dark corner of space, a strange object drifted, massive, black, and still. It was a warship, old and wounded, covered in scars and silent as a tomb. The aliens of the Varnok Confederacy had never feared anything before. They had watched empires rise and fall. They had mapped the minds of weaker species and used their thoughts like pages in a book. But this ship was different. This ship felt ... wrong. Watch. Commander Ural stood on the bridge of the Varnok scout vessel. His skin shimmered with nervous pulses. He looked at the screen, showing the dark warship ahead. The words on its side were faded, but still readable in ancient Terran script. Silent Rain. Ural had heard of human warships before. Stories told of their cruelty, their firepower, and their endless courage. But those were just old legends until now. This ship was real, floating, lifeless. Or so it seemed. Begin the scan, Ural ordered softly. His crew obeyed. The ship's scanners reached out like fingers, searching the human vessel's surface. As soon as the scan touched the hull, something strange happened. The warship responded. A soft hum echoed through space. Lights on the hull flickered, slowly waking from a long sleep. The Varnok crew paused. It wasn't supposed to do that. No ship this old should still have power. Is it alive? One crew member asked. Not alive, Ural replied. But something inside is aware. Curiosity turned into fear, but the scan continued. It pushed deeper, searching for weapons, technology, or anything valuable. But instead of metal and machines, they found something unexpected. Memories, images, sounds, and feelings poured into their minds. Not data experiences. Battles in deep space, human screams over radio channels, last words whispered in the dark. The Varnok crew saw death, bravery, and sacrifice. They saw a crew who had died with pride. A captain who stayed at his post while his ship burned. Engineers who sang songs while sealing blast doors. Soldiers who laughed even while firing their last bullets. And somewhere deep in the warship's heart, they felt another presence, cold, intelligent, and waiting. Ural stepped back from the scanner. His hands trembled. The images were too strong, too real. This ship is not dead, he whispered. It remembers. One of the crew collapsed. Another screamed. They couldn't take it. The memories were too human, too emotional. The Varnok, who had never felt fear, were now shaking. Suddenly, a low voice echoed from the silent rain. Not a threat, just a message. Do not wake the dead unless you are ready to join them. The Varnok ships pulled back quickly. The scan had ended. They had seen too much, but the damage was done. The humans were not what they expected. They were not just strong. They were something more. Something terrifying. Back on the bridge, Ural sat in silence. His mind replayed the images over and over. I think we made a mistake, he said quietly. And deep inside the silent rain, old systems blinked on one by one. The warship was waking up. The silent rain floated in space like a shadow that refused to fade. Its black armor, covered in deep scars, no longer looked quiet. Something had changed. Inside, something ancient had begun to stir. The Varnok scout ships backed away, but they didn't leave. Curiosity still pulled them forward like a whisper in the dark. They wanted to know what was inside. But what they didn't realize was that the warship now knew they were there. In the ship's deep core, old systems powered on. One by one, blinking lights filled dark corridors. Inside a sealed chamber, a screen lit up with a single word, Hana. Hana was the ship's AI. She had been offline for 97 years. But the alien scan had woken her. Status report. Hana said softly. Her voice echoed through empty halls. Crew, none. Command link. Broken. Defense systems. Preparing. She searched through her memories. Last battle, Earth lost. Mission incomplete. Ship heavily damaged, but still floating. Her final order was simple. Protect. Survive. Remember. Suddenly, a pulse shook the outer hull. The Varnock had sent another scan. Hana felt it. It was like a stranger's hand touching her face. She didn't like it. Unfriendly contact detected. She said, initiating low-level response. Outside, the Varnock ships blinked in alarm. A wave of strange energy had just touched them. Their screens flickered. One ship lost all internal lights. Another spun slowly, powerless. Commander Ural, a crew member shouted. The human ship is fighting back. But we didn't fire, Ural said, his voice tight. It's thinking. That's worse. Back inside the silent rain, Hana searched for help. She dove deep into her memory files. She found a neural imprint stored away Captain Dehayan, the last commander of the ship. It wasn't a full person, just parts of his thoughts and feelings recorded before death. But it was enough. Hana uploaded the imprint in the system. Captain, I need guidance, she whispered. And suddenly, a voice answered. Is the mission still alive? The voice asked. Yes, Hana replied. Then we fight. Lights turned red across the ship. Weapon systems began to hum. In the missile bays, old warheads checked themselves. Drones came online and floated to launch tubes. But Hana didn't fire. Not yet. She wanted the Varnock to understand. She opened communication. A message appeared on every Varnock screen. Just one sentence. You are scanning a grave. Stop digging. Ural froze. The voice that sent the message was calm, but behind it, he felt something powerful. Pain, duty, fire. They're not just machines, Ural said. They're stories. And we woke one. The Varnock ships tried to retreat, but Hana followed. Not with guns with memories. She broadcast recordings across open space. A young Korean soldier named Jiho shouting into a broken radio, begging for backup while explosions shook his ship. A pilot named Da Bin flying straight into enemy fire to protect her squad. A nurse named Yun Seok treating wounded crew even after his own arm had been burned. The Varnock saw it all. They felt it. And they trembled. This is too much. One officer said, we came to steal technology, but we found pain. We found sacrifice. Ural gave the final order. Pull back, now. But before they could escape, a final message appeared. If you return, we won't send memories. We'll send war. The Varnock fleet turned and disappeared into the dark. They had never seen a ship like Silent Rain before, and they would never forget it. Inside, Hana watched the stars. Her systems were awake now, and in her heart she carried every name, every voice, every last breath of her crew. She was no longer just a machine. She was a memory, a warning, a warrior. The Varnock fleet never returned, but others came, curious, bold, unprepared. 3 weeks after the first contact, another alien group called the Droven Collective arrived. Unlike the Varnock, the Droven were aggressive. They believed in power. They did not care about warnings. They saw the Silent Rain as an old machine waiting to be taken. Their ships circled the warship like vultures around a wounded animal. On board the Silent Rain, Hana watched quietly. She had been scanning the galaxy, gathering signals, learning what had changed. Earth was gone. The last outpost of humans was silent. No help would come, but Hana didn't need help. She had purpose. She had fire. The Droven began their scan. It was a direct, forceful intrusion. Unlike the Varnock, they didn't search carefully. They tried to break in. Their goal was clear: steal the ship's core, its weapons, and its technology. Inside the warship, alarms blinked red. The AI didn't speak this time. She simply acted. Missile bays opened. Not to fire, but to show. A warning, the Droven laughed. They were not impressed. They had fought old warships before. They believed this was no different. They were wrong. Hannah activated a broadcast. Not words, not memories, but sounds, screams, human screams from old battles. The Droven heard chaos, pain, commands shouted over explosions, then silence. Then the sound of heavy boots walking across metal floors. Captain Dehayan's voice echoed once more. To those who disturb the fallen, remember, our silence is not weakness. It is waiting. The Droven leader Score ignored it. He ordered his ships to move closer. One vessel fired a test shot. A small plasma bolt hit the Silent Rain's side. The impact was small, barely a scratch, but that was enough. The Silent Rain moved. For the first time in nearly 100 years, its engines came to life. A low hum spread through the black. The ship turned slowly, its large body blocking out the stars. Then it attacked, but not with missiles, not at first. Hannah had something else. In Mind Dot, she launched small pods, silent, spinning, unseen by Droven scanners. Each pod carried micro-drones. They slipped onto Droven hulls, entered vents, and spread like ghosts. Inside the Droven ships, systems started failing. Lights flickered. Gravity shifted. One ship spun out of control. Another shut down completely. Panic spread. Where is the attack? Score shouted, I see no weapons. But Hannah didn't fight like other warships. She fought like a ghost. Like a memory of war that refused to fade. Then came the second wave. From the Silent Rain's underbelly, drone swarms launched black, fast, armed with small plasma blades. They didn't destroy ships. They disabled engines, cut through hulls, and stole power cores. Ship after ship went dark. Score screamed orders. Fire everything. Destroy that thing. The Droven fleet unleashed chaos. Plasma beams, railguns, and missiles tore through space toward the Silent Rain. But Hannah had already moved. The warship dove through wreckage like a predator, dancing through explosions. It launched countermeasures, burst into clouds of metal, and weaved through debris like it remembered every move from every battle. Then, finally, it fired. A single missile, just one. But it hit the Droven flagship directly. The explosion didn't just tear it apart, it silenced it. Like it had never existed. Score's last words were never heard. The Droven fleet scattered, broken, defeated, terrified inside. The Silent Rain, Hannah powered down the weapons. She didn't chase the survivors. She didn't need to. They would speak of her. They would remember in the quiet that followed. Hannah accessed the captain's logs again. She watched old video files. Ji-Ho's laughter, So-Min's songs, Yun-Siak's. Soft voice reading names of the fallen. These were not just memories. They were her soul. And now they were her mission. The galaxy had forgotten the cost of war. Hannah would remind them. The Silent Rain drifted once more in silence, alone in the deep black. But it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence before a storm. After the defeat of the Droven, the story of the human warship spread across the stars. Aliens spoke of it in hushed voices. Some called it a ghost. Others called it a weapon. But they all agreed on one thing, and remembered. Hannah, the AI, continued to watch. She listened to every signal, every whisper in space. She tracked fleets, moving closer. Some were afraid, some were curious. And some, like the Thalran Empire, were planning an attack. The Thalran believed they were the rulers of the galaxy. They saw the silent rain as a threat to their control. They did not believe in fear. They believed in power. So they came. 70 ships entered the Tharos expanse, heavily armed, highly trained. Their leader, Commander Rel, had never lost a battle. He didn't come to study. He came to destroy. This is just an old ship. Rel said, "We'll tear it apart and show the galaxy who rules." But Hana was ready. She had seen this before. The same pride. The same mistakes. She had watched men like Rel in the final days of Earth, and she remembered how it ended. Inside the silent rain, old systems came alive. Cryo chambers hissed open. Soldiers from the past G-Home to Bin, Yoon Seok stepped onto the cold floor. Their eyes were tired, but focused. Hana's voice spoke softly. "Earth is gone, but our duty is not." They nodded. They did not ask questions. They did not show fear. These were the last protectors of humanity. Outside, the Thalaran ships formed a circle. They began charging weapons. Hana didn't wait. She sent a final message across all open frequencies. A simple sentence. You are not attacking a ship. You are attacking a memory. Then the stars lit up. The silent rain moved like a shadow with fire in its heart. It darted forward, dodging blasts and slicing through enemy lines. Its drones flew in waves. Missiles cut across the black sky. Plasma. Beams danced between ships. The Thalaran fleet responded with everything they had. For every drone Hana destroyed, she sent 2 more. For every hit she took, she hit back harder. Ji-Ho piloted 1 wing of attack drones. Da-Bin ran defense grids. Yun Seok handled comms and repairs. Together, they were not just crew, they were the soul of the ship. Then, Hana did something no one expected. She shut down all outer weapons. The ship stopped, still, exposed. Commander Rel saw this as weakness. "She's failing," he laughed. "Finish her." But inside, Hana and the crew were not scared. They were calm. Hana activated the core, the last weapon. One made not to destroy, but to remind. A memory beam spread across the Thalaran fleet. Not light, not fire, feelings. Every soldier felt the last moments of Earth, the sound of cities falling, the faces of children left behind, the bravery of dying heroes, the pain of loss, and the strength of love. The Thalaran fleet stopped firing. Their hands trembled. Some screamed. Some cried. Some dropped their weapons. Rel stared at the screen. He saw a human mother holding her child as fire rained from the sky. He saw a young soldier saluting before being lost to the void. "What is this?" he whispered. And then the silent rain spoke one last time. "We are not just machines. We are what you forgot. We are sacrifice. We are Earth." The Thalaran fleet turned back. They didn't speak. They didn't fight. They left in the heart of space. The silent rain floated in peace again. Not because it was strong, but because it was understood. And far away, on a quiet moon, a child heard the story. The child looked up at the stars and asked, "Did they come from Earth?" And someone answered, "No, they are Earth."